So in phase 1 of our boss battle, we want to move our boss onto the screen. But let's have a think about what we're going to do that before we do anything. So if we go back into the game here, I'm going to reactivate the boss battle on the screen so we can see what we're doing. Like this. Okay, so we've got our boss coming in, and once he gets into position, wherever that will be in the game, we don't want the boss to just be sitting here doing nothing. What we want it to do is slowly move up and down, trying to avoid getting shot by the player, and also trying to move where its bullets are firing towards the player. So we'll let it move up and down between 2 different points. So basically we have 3 positions that we have our boss that wants to go into. We want it to go into its first position where it starts, and then we want to have it go up and down between 2 other positions. But because if it's moving between those 2 other positions, those will be in a straight direct line with where our first position is. So really all we need is those 2 positions, and then we can take the X position of one of those to use for where our boss should stop moving into the screen. So let's go ahead and create those 2 variables that we're going to use to position our boss. So to do that, we're going to go to the boss itself. We're going to right click and create a new empty object that we'll call top position. Then we'll duplicate that and change this one to be bottom position, like that. Then to test out where our boss should appear, we're going to I'm just going to make sure things line up a little bit better. Our main overall boss battle holder, I'm going to set this to be at position 0, 0 in the world, just to keep everything nice and easy. And then our boss battle, we're going to make sure he starts at 0, so he's right in the middle of the screen when he comes in. And of course we want him to be off to the side, but that's okay, we don't need to worry too much about that. But so for example, to find out where our top position and our bottom position will be, we're going to move him onto the screen. So he's going to appear at this point of the screen, and this is where he's going to stop. Maybe just a little bit more in. How does that look in the game? Yep, that looks absolutely fine. Then what we're going to do next is say, okay, so how high can our boss go? We'll move him up. We'll say maybe he can go up about this high here. So if he can go that high, well, let's take the top position, which was a child of him, and make that no longer a child of the boss, but a child of the whole boss battle in general. So now if you move the boss down to its lowest position, down here, say, our top position still says up there, but our bottom position now, we have a position for that. So now we can make that no longer a child of the boss as well. So we'll make that a child of the boss battle. So now that's here. And now we can move our main boss back into position where he should be. So he should be at 0 on the y-axis and off to the screen at the side here. Okay, so that's perfectly fine. We have our 2 positions that we want to have our boss in, and we know what position we want to move him into first when he gets onto the screen. So let's set that up now for our phase 1. So in phase 1, what we want him to do is move towards this position. So we're going to use a different bit of code that we haven't done before for moving our objects in the world. We're still going to affect its transform position, but we're actually going to need to know what it is that we're moving. We have no reference to the boss just yet, so we're going to need to put one in here. So we'll have a public game object that we'll call the boss. We obviously need to know about those 2 positions that we want to put him in, so we'll have a public transform top position, and we'll have a public transform bottom position. And then finally we need to know how quick should our boss move into the scene. Well, we want him to move in at a certain speed, so we'll say a public float move speed. And we probably want our boss actually to move at a different speed when he's coming into the level, and a different speed again when he's moving up and down. So we'll actually have a move speed X for when he's coming in, and we'll have a move speed move speed Y for when our boss is moving up and down the screen. Okay, so we've got our boss now, or we've got our values now. So what we can do is when we're in phase 1, okay, get the boss's transform dot position, and we're going to set it to be equal to a vector tree dot move towards. So what move towards does is, fairly logically, it takes your current position you have a look at what a target position should be, so where you want your object to go, and you use a float for a distance to say, okay, go towards this position over a certain amount of time. So we know what our current position is. That's the boss's transform dot position. We want to go towards a new vector tree. We want to stop at the X position of one of our top or bottom positions. Let's say we'll go with the top position. So top position dot X. We want it to stop there, but we want to stay at the current Y position we have. So we'll say stay at the boss transform position dot Y, and stay at the boss dot transform dot position dot Z. So that's fine. That's our place we want to move to. So then finally we have, how fast are we going to go to get there? Well, we'll use our move speed X, and we're going to multiply that by time dot delta time. Perfect. So the next thing we want to do just after we do that is check and see if our boss has gotten into position. So we're making our boss move towards this position, and if he gets there, so we're going to say if the boss's transform dot position dot X, so if he's in the right position on the X-axis, he should be at the, that should be equal. If the boss's transform position X is equal to the top position position dot X, well then in that case, hey, we know we're done with this phase, so let's start moving on to the next one. So we'll say phase 1 is now false, and phase 2 should now be true. So before we go any further, let's test this out and make sure it's working in the game. Save all that, go back into Unity, we'll let it compile down, we'll hit, oh, I just hit play unthinkingly there. What we need to do is go to our boss battle and hook up some of this stuff here. So the boss, we need to say the boss is this object. Our top position will be this one here. Oh no, I clicked on it by accident. Our top position, and then our bottom position. Our move speed X, let's give him a move speed of say 5, and we want him to move up down fairly slowly, so we'll say that 2 will be fine. Okay, so we have our boss here now. By default, we want our boss to start at phase 0. So as soon as the boss is activated in the world, phase 0 is true, so we want to start counting down. We're going to give him maybe just a 3-second countdown for now. And the next thing I'm going to do is, on our game manager, because we're just testing our boss, we don't really want to have to worry about our waves, so we're going to set it to be a really high number for our waves to be counting down. That's probably too high actually. A big enough number for our waves to be counting down, so our waves don't start spawning on us and we don't have to worry about them just yet. So let's hit the play button. Once the game gets going, we'll wait a few seconds, and then our boss appears on screen. Oh, he's dangerous looking, he's very fierce, but we got him onto the screen now, so we can move on to our next phase and start getting them moving up and down and starting some lasers firing out at the player.